Okay, hello everyone. We're on the dot. I hope you're all having a really nourishing and good time learning a lot with the festival. I just saw also a session on finances and it was great. So I'll give it, I guess, couple more minutes or 1 more minute and then we'll start. But the idea with this session or workshop is, thank you, Rebecca, is that we're like super interactive and you guys can ask tons of questions. Just ask to come in with your camera and I'll let you guys in. I'll do a little presentation first about roots radicals. I was going to put a video, but it seems that video doesn't work so well with the hopping. But I'll tell you a bit about what we're doing in the kitchen, and then we'll go from, let's say, professional kitchen to a home kitchen. And just start with what happens in my house, but, you know, just feel free to interrupt, ask questions all the time. And once I'm done, I'll also open for a conversation, you know, like I really want to know what you guys struggle with. What do you want to learn more of? What do you do and want to share today, and so forth. So I'm gonna start with roots radicals, and because the video doesn't work, I'm just gonna start with this photo for a bit while I tell you guys about what do we do there. So hold on, I'm gonna go into the presentation mode. Slideshow. Okay, so Roots Radicals is my company. I started with it a little bit over a year ago, and what we do is that we upcycle. So we work with different providers along the food chain, and they are normally rescuing or working with ugly fruits and vegetables, or sometimes at the end of the supermarket, things that are no longer wanted by reasons that sometimes we don't even understand. So we actually only work or try to work the most we can with these vegetables. And then when we need to complement, we complement with regional and farmers and so forth. And the philosophy of Roots Radicals lies in upcycling. In this case, upcycling specifically with fruits and vegetables that had like, were going to be wasted. But we also have like a very big concept of upcycling while we cook. And this is, I think, one of the challenges and also the fun parts about what we do. So we focus a lot on food products, as you can see, that are all preserves. Not everything is fermented. We also ferment a lot. And we focus on preservation because we see preservation as one technique that is very linked to our nostalgic past, to our grandparents, to our farming, to like this respect that we used to have for food. And also, of course, because when you preserve something, it lasts, it can stay in this way for a long time, so we avoid wastage in this regard. And so I'm just, it's okay with the presentation and the chat, I guess, yes. So while we focus on the upcycling in the kitchen, what we do is that we are always working with byproducts. So potentially nothing goes to waste. I mean, at the end, there might be from, you know, even from what we get from our suppliers, a tomato that just won't survive and goes to compost. But for example, we make ketchup and we use the tomato peels, and with that we upcycle it and we make a tomato salt. And I'll go further on that just in a little bit. But basically, every byproduct from our production, we look as potential and bountiful source, which is like the concept a bit of also circular economy, that is not to think about waste as waste per se, but look at waste as opportunity. And we also are very much focused on education and empowerment, to empower myself and you and every one of us that wants to change more our habits or needs to raise their own awareness. And to do that, we are starting soon also with education and more workshops, conversations, cooking classes, and so forth. Because, of course, there's a very big difference when you're a company and you have your own sustainable values, but there's also a big topic of food waste and homes and how we can handle it at home, no? And I'm always having this idea that food really serves as a channel to reconnect, and can open up this conversation, because it has this very big power, no? We eat 3 times a day. We are disconnected from food, but in a way we're all also wishing to reconnect, and preserves, again, is something that I think can also link us to that, fermentation, ancestral methods, and all of this. So this is why at Roots Radicals we focus on this. This was a video. So if we go into thinking about the upcycling, the circular cooking, and the food upcycling, I'm going to show you a little bit about our products. This one here is our piccalilli. We just produced it actually 2 weeks ago. And it's a relish, a pickled mustard vinegar relish that we do in summertime or late summertime, because it has corn. It has gherkin, it has onions, cauliflower, and then, you know, one product. And we have actually almost 6 byproducts that come from it. So what happens with us is that we don't focus on one and grow exponentially up high. As a company, we have like 29 different products and really going horizontally, no? So for example, to give you an example with the piccalilli, we have a kimchi that we do with cauliflower leaves from the piccalilli. Then with the corn, we do with the corn, not the kernels, but let's say the spine. We do broth and syrup, and we cook our fruit, or are aiming to do our fruit preserves there. That's another product that comes in. Then from the cauliflower stalks, I'm also trying now to do like cauliflower stalks in vinegar, as a little bit like a Spanish recipe. So I don't know if I ever introduced myself either. I'm so sorry. I'm Monica. I am Peruvian, but I also lived in Spain, and I am a chef, so I love to cook. And I am also a scientist. I have some background in science. So if you guys also have questions around fermentation and, you know, how to do these things at home, I can also help with that. So ketchup, I was telling you about the ketchup. This is our ketchup, which is actually really nice. We do it with a lot of spices, as you guys can see on the photo. And for the ketchup, we don't use the tomato skins. We don't use the tomato seeds. And, you know, if you do something at home, perhaps you don't go through the trouble. But when it comes to cooking and having an ultimate product, to me, sometimes it's important that some things aren't there. I think it's okay, just as long as, you know, we don't throw them. And I actually finding out about tomato peels just for education of myself, and also to let everyone know, you know, the importance. They are actually super, super nutritious also. And this is what we're finding out with all of the peels that normally we think to throw, no? So here's a photo of the tomato peels. We dehydrate them. You can also do this at home. If you don't have a dehydrator, you can just turn your oven on to like 100 degrees, not more. And once it reaches sort of that temperature, put the peels in very spread it, and then turn the oven off. and leave it with the light on until the next day and see how they're doing, and you like gradually keep on frying them like that. What we do afterwards with the peels once is that we blend them so they become very fine, and we add salt. And so it's like a really nice seasoning. I use it to, and sometimes, I mean, I strain it particularly for roots radicals because we want it to have a certain texture. But whatever is left, I use it to cook my rice, to add it to pasta, finalize obviously vegetable stock and other stuff. So there's like a lot that you can still do if you also want to get like really fine with the texture, you know. So let's keep going. Happening. Sure, we also have harissa sauce, for example, a hot sauce, and the hot sauce has lemon juice. So then we have the leftover from the lemons, right? We also have a salsa actually that has lime or lemon juice. So what we do in this case is that we don't throw the peels, of course, you know, all of our lemons and our limes in this case are organic. If you don't work with organic, just make sure that you submerge either with baking soda or vinegar to release the pesticides. And then we cook the lemon peels. First, we blanch them in water, then we put them with sugar, and then we have like really nice candied lemon peels that you can eat in salads. You can add to desserts. You can put in just like also as a snack, you know, with all the properties and aromas that lemon still has. So great that you guys are getting hungry. Some of you cooking, I see. These are our garlic peels. We use baked garlic, so really nice for cooking. I just put the heads and we make a lot of it in the oven. We actually want to also sell baked garlic paste for cooking. But of course, all the peels are so good. Garlic peels have like a lot of benefits that you cannot find nutritionally wise speaking in garlic per se, you know, the clove. Like they say that for the heart, everything that is on the peel can be lost. So garlic peel tea is really nice, and actually it doesn't taste like garlic. So it's not like you're gonna have a garlic tea, you know. But we also dehydrate them in this case and make like a really nice spice again. So the same as the tomatoes that I was showing you. Let me show you this here, what I have though, like, because I also have some stuff here. This is garlic peels, like a lime that I use for my salad for lunch, and some ginger peels also. And I did like a tea, you know, some lemon verbena that I have. You can also put tea there, you know, and then you just use all of these leaves that have so much good benefits also for a purpose, you know. And this is actually what I'm having to drink today. Yes, I also read the garlic peels as pesticides. I did read that. And of course, there's always more things that you can use. So that's a great tip also. Here you can see the onions, the same thing that we do with the garlic peels with the onions. And for roots radicals, of course, this is really good for us because then we have a sort of line of spices, no? And it also facilitates our work in this regard. But you can also use onion peels to make dye, vegetable dyes. How do you use it as pesticides? Yes, this, I think I will leave Adriana to answer that question while I keep moving, because I haven't done it yet, and I'll take the tip as well. Here is a photo of the spices that you can see that I was showing you before. So we have the onion, these ones here. There's some of them that are hot spices, and they are hot because they are coming from our hot sauces. After straining them, we also dehydrate and make a spice. You can see the candied lemon also, and the tomato. So there we go. These are hot sauces, and with their like sort of siblings, I like to call them. Everything can go also in your hot sauce if you do a hot sauce at home, of course, you know. This is just more of a product development that I want the texture of the hot sauce to have a certain style. So then I just have also hot spices, which is like really cool. All right, this is another example of roots radicals. Here we have an apple pie filling, which is our fruit preserve. How do you turn the onion peel into spices? Yes, we blend them. So it's the same as I was showing for the tomatoes and the garlic. First dehydrate. You want to, the onion peels I also actually sterilize. So I blanch them in water because the garlic has already been baked and also the tomato, but the onion hasn't. So I do a blanch, just really hot water, take in and take out, and clean them very well and select them. And then I dehydrate them in the oven and then blend. And I add some salt. If you don't have so much quantities, you can also do together your garlic peels, baked garlic peels, tomato peels, and onion all together, and you have like a spice mix blend, you know, which is great. And until you accumulate, you can also just put them dried in glass in your house. And because they are dried, they will keep, so they won't mold. And then if you happen to have a vacuum sealer, though that also obviously has the problem of plastic, so I guess better would be glass. Just keep it there until you have enough, if you want to do it like that, or otherwise you can just keep doing it. Okay, so I'll keep going with the tomato, the apple pie that you see here. This one is just, you know, make it easy and delicious. You just drop it in your delicious dough, and then you have your apple pie ready. And these are the peels and the cores of our apples. I mean, we produce a lot, right? So we have it's not like the most efficient apple peeler, but we do have an apple peeler and we have a corer to make it easy. Sometimes, of course, that means that there's a little bit more meat there, but that's okay if we just ferment it, right? So we make vinegar, and we have apple core vinegar. We also do quince when quince comes, or when we work with fruits, generally speaking. We did also strawberries. Everything that comes from the fruits, of course, have a very big potential into fermenting because of the sugar. You do need to add a little bit more sugar, but we do that. So they stay for a few months. First, the sugar becomes alcohol, and then the alcohol, with the help of oxygen, becomes vinegar, and then we voila, bottle it and offer it for all of you guys. What else? These are fermented lemons. So this is just rescued lemons that are rescued because the skins are spotted, or sometimes I guess the size or so. So we just like directly ferment them, and they're great to use. So if you have some, maybe you got too many lemons or limes and you don't know what else to do with them, fermenting them, it's awesome. I have here a jar, actually, like a home jar. You just have to always make sure you keep them under water. It's not water, actually, it's their own juice. So to make them, you just need to cut them in 4. You put a little salt inside, and you put them with weight, and they release their juice. Just make sure they're always covered with the juice, and you wait 1 month. I have some that are like years old, and they're like so good, just as long as they're submerged. So these are our fruit preserves. Going back to preservation, some other things that I have done with the peels of the citrus at home is oil. Really good. You just need to warm up your oil with the citrus. You can add lemongrass. You can add some also there. You can add ginger peels or old ginger or garlic, and you can make a really nice aromatic oil. So this is like a really also good way to upcycle. I think there's a lot of mandarin there because my daughter eats a lot of mandarins. So, you know, mandarin peels are actually really, really good as well. So don't eat and throw. And I guess everyone might know this one. This is just vinegar that is infused with oranges and citrus. You can also put mandarin, any type of citrus. You can also put, of course, herbs and stuff. I leave it for 1 month and then I strain it. And then that's my like all-purpose cleaner for home. So that is another one for cleaning. All right, this one, this photo here. This is just some practices, you know, like I normally have my compost bin, of course, and then in my fridge, I keep 2 Tupperwares, one that goes for fruits and one that goes for savory. You can have more, like that depends on what you eat. But sometimes, you know, you won't, it's corn season and you ate a lot of corn and you only want to keep the corn to make a stock at the end of the week, you know? In this case, you see there's even like some cheese rinds, which are really great for flavor. If you're not vegan, try that. And this was just end of the week, you know? And then this becomes this like amazing broth. I even put some of the corn leaves there. You just cook it in your pan and then you keep it for your week. You can freeze it. You can do risotto with it, like sauces, so many things. I think one of the most important things when we try to upcycle or cook circularly at home is understand that it requires some time, you know, because you're not throwing, you're saving some things for later, maybe, because you cannot do everything at the same time, no? Even with Roots Radicals, we're like constantly cooking. There's like constantly things to do. And sometimes I just have to freeze some things because we're also like a very small company, right? We're not like a lot of people there. So establishing a sort of routine, knowing that maybe Sundays you're going to do your Sunday stock, or Sunday you're going to eat risotto, you know, and you're going to do it with the stock from your leftovers or things like that. It's also like a tip I like to give. Here we have some red onions. I didn't find those so tasty. So what we do with them is actually colors. And here you can see something like you might know of it or not, but this was an activity that I did with my daughter, which is colorings with the onion peels. There's some cabbage there, coffee grounds, and then we put the eggs in cheesecloth. I actually saved them because they are actually really cool and colorful, but I'm going to use them next year. And then you see the eggs, no? So for Easter, that's like a really nice activity. Okay, breadcrumbs, of course. Bread is a big one. I guess everyone, including myself, sometimes the bread doesn't last outside, or, you know, it just happens. Me personally, for example, I brought some bread. I bought a really nice bread for Saturdays because we're the Marjane Noin. And then I brought it back home, and no, I forgot it in my kitchen. So now it was hard. I don't throw that, you know. I make breadcrumbs. You can try also, if not, to put it in your fridge. And when you have a certain amount, make a bread pudding. And the photo to the right is like a radish salad with a radish pesto made out of the seeds of the radish. Then it has raw radish and fermented radishes as well. This is, sorry, I was reading the chat, but I'll get into that in a little bit. These are potato peels, right? And these are made out of the potato skins. Really good. And actually, if you see that there's some red there, those are actually the spices. So you can put there some of your tomato spices. How to keep them? So I make the peels, I boil them for also like 2 minutes in water. I take them out, I let them dry for a bit, and then I freeze them. And then when I'm ready to have them, I defreeze them and I can fry them. You can also not freeze if you want to do it the next day. I did it for my daughter's kita, for example. I had them just peeled, And then I marinated them with a little oil, garlic, herbs, and into the oven. And that's also a great way. And just if you want to do that, it's great because also you don't have to think so much of, you know, peeling them so perfectly. And then if there's a little bit of the potato there, that's like really, really nice. It's nice. Yes, thank you, Rene. Try it. You have to try it. Pumpkin. Sometimes we eat the peel, of course, if we bake it in the oven. But if you want to make a stew and you want it to like really come over, you want to peel it. Well, what I do is like immediately as I am making the stew, the peels go into a pot next to it with water, and I start making the broth. So I use that broth to make my stew even healthier, you know, and or with flavors. Well, there you can see pumpkin seeds, sorry, that you can also, you take out the pumpkin seeds, you leave them dry, and then you add salt and spices, and you can toast them. This is the corn hairs that are actually really nice, and this is from a friend of mine from Cusco, because in Peru we have a lot of corn. So, and then here you see the pesto made out of the radishes and the radishes. So this was like all for a workshop that we did. Here's the potential of corn. Don't throw it, you know, the leaves also. You can either freeze them the way they are or dehydrate them if you like and keep them at room temperature. But you can cook inside of them. So we do tamales or humitas, but you can also cook vegetables and do it in a steamer, and it will be so delicious and tasty. You just do little packages, and they will also look super nice. So for a special dinner. And now that we're in the season, because then in December you won't have them. So if you freeze them now, you'll be able to cook with steamed corn leaves if that's what you want, maybe for Christmas. So yeah, that's all on my sort of presentation. I have a lot of stuff here also to show you. Stocks and stuff, like things from my home that I wanted you to see, you know, how I keep them ready to become broth. But I think I just want you guys now to ask me questions. This is until we have like 20 minutes, you know. So just come on in to the video if you're not shy, or on the chat. Banana peels. Well, banana peels go really well. We were talking before on pesticides, so I've done that. You submerge them just be sure that you keep them underwater, because otherwise you get mold, for a few days, and then you strain them and you water your plants with that, and your plants get a lot of potassium and other nutrients, which is great. I have also read you can do banana bread with the peels. I have not done that, but I have read it. So I think you might Google and find some recipes there. To whiten your teeth, the banana peels. Interesting. I also have not tried that. I think I might have read it though, now that you say it. So ask me more questions. Keeping veggies, fruits under their liquid when fermenting. Yes. So, of course, weights, no? Like, but if you don't have weights, you can also collect stones, rocks, and wash them very well. And then you put a little plate if it fits, and then the stones inside. If the plate doesn't fit, because, you know, like, let me show you here, this one. So this one is the weight for the lemons. But we don't sell, for example, our fermented lemons in Roots Radicals with the weight, because otherwise the product would be so expensive. What we do is that we put a little ginger piece. If this, of course, these jars are also great, but if you're using regular jars, you can also use a sacrificial, it's called sacrificial, like cabbage leaf. You put it on top, and the cabbage leaf might get some cam yeast, is what it's called, but the rest will be protected. I also used to do, but again, this is probably not zero wastes, but what I used to do was the same brine inside a little plastic bag, and then the plastic bag goes on top. But I guess if you reuse the bag, you can try and think about doing that as well. Sure, you're welcome. What else? What else you want to know? I don't know. What do you guys normally have leftovers of and want to find out how to use? Sometimes, you know, we have herbs, right? We buy herbs. Happens to me, and I'm going to show it. I buy the whole plant because I want to keep the plant, and this is my little basil plant that I really want to keep. But still, sometimes it happens that it goes a little bit bad, right? Even sometimes it has happened to me that the whole plant just dries. I don't throw that, you know, obviously, like I use the whole, it's just dried, naturally dried herbs that you can then use for cooking or also for other things. So don't throw it. Here, I have something else. And I'll read you this. This is upcycled cucumber, and it's upcycled because it's the cucumber peels and the seeds from our picalilli that we used. If anyone needs to go, just I'm quickly gonna say there's my email, so you can write me, and you can visit us at Marja Lenoin, and I'm also, well, just send me an email, subscribe to our newsletter, and we'll be doing some more workshops and stuff. But continuing with the cucumbers, what we do with that, it's actually my brother's birthday celebration tonight, so I took it out because it was freezing, and I'm gonna make some cocktails with that. So, you know, I think we can always find things to do with our so-called waste if we just look at it as opportunity and them being bountiful resources, no? The stems of basil, Roberto, you can definitely use it to infuse oil, and you'll have a really aromatic basil oil for salads. That would be my first choice. Second choice, if you do a minestrone or a soup, you know, to aromatize a soup, also really nice. You just take it out afterwards. Yes, do you see my profile? It's all in the screen, so just follow me and just send me emails or ask me more questions. Send me an email with your email if you want to be in our newsletter. We're like working on that, and it's coming soon, so I'll add you guys. Great. What else do I have here? Oh, well. This is already going further on. I actually did a workshop this Sunday with a girl that is a designer that works with materials. And this is gelatin and I don't know what else. It's a formula. I can also give you the recipe, but it has onion peels, and here there's also like some tomato peels and stuff. And then you can write on it, do name tags, and they don't serve as plates because I think with the heat, like if you wash it. But I was thinking to do cups. You know, they look like plastic, but they're not. And with the broth, like powdered broth, and then you put the boiling water, and it just dilutes into your soup, so you can eat like a, you know, like a takeaway soup, but then it just becomes edible. So that was it's an idea in my mind. I mean, I don't know when I'm gonna do it. So great, Irene. Just please try it and just ask me questions if you have any doubts. What else do I have here? This is another infused oil. This one has, this is also citrusy. I love citrus oil. It's so good. And the good thing about citrus also, it doesn't have so much water because oil and water can react. So if you make infused oils, make sure always also to to be sure that you keep them in the fridge. But in this case, if there is everything that you use is very dry, then it's really nice. And see, this here is like still infusing. So yes, ask me more questions. Let's see. Or anyone wants to share what they do at home? What's their favorite upcycling to do at home? That also, we already know some people do. What do you do with the ginger peels? Well, some are here in this sort of upcycled tea that I did. And actually, the reason why I also wanted to show you this tea is because sometimes we think we can only do broth. And of course, it's very easy. So if you don't have so much time at home, let's just think about doing it simple things, no? So broth, but tea is a sort of broth. Like broth is just an infusion. So this is great. And the other thing that I do with the ginger peels, if you have, if they're organic, of course, is this. This is my ginger bug to make a ginger ale. So I just put some water there, grated ginger and sugar, and it starts to like eat the sugar. And then you take a little bit of that and put it in another sort of ginger tea thing, and you can make your own ginger ale. So it's sort of like a kombucha, and this is like a starter. Ginger peel can also certainly go on a sort of citrusy oil. Actually, I think we just did that last week with Roots Radicals. We did a salsa with chilies, and we don't put all the seeds so that it's not so spicy. So I kept the seeds, and we also had some ginger peel from our kimchi paste left over because we did pica lily and we had the kimchi. And then I dried the ginger and chili seeds, and we're working on a test for an oil, so like a spicy and aromatic oil, you know. How would you make the broth with the veggie scraps? There's a few ways of how you can make broth. One is that you can first add a little oil to all your scraps and toast it in the oven. And then when they're out toasted, just add the very hot water there, and then put it on a pan and keep on boiling it for a bit, and then you strain it, and that will give it a little more brownish color, you know. It will be a bit more caramelized. And the other way is the simplest. You just take all your scraps, you put them in the pot, and you add water to the top. Good broth, I mean, I would say you wait until it's halfway there. With vegetables, 1 hour is enough of time. Like normally, even sometimes I've read that more than 1 hour, it can start giving some off flavors. Like the same way when you make some fish stock, it should be only 30 minutes. So it's quite fast. And you can make it while you're already cutting, or you know, you're going to make a stew, let's say, right? So you're cutting your onions and you're starting to put them with oil and so, and then after your stew is sort of cooking, you will add water. Instead of adding water, you add this broth, so it richens a lot your stew and preparation. Any tips to easily clean pumpkin seeds? Yes, I read that it's challenging. I just do it underwater, like not, you know, like I put a little water there and then I do it. But of course, they have a little bit of gum coming out, no? So I think patience would be the best tip. But to me, normally it's not so much of a problem. And then you put them on a baking sheet and spread them well, you know, and you dehydrate them. So if there is any sort of fiber that was left, it will also dehydrate. And once they are dry, it's much more easy to separate. All right, so we have 6 more minutes. just ask me more things. I really wanted this to be really, interactive and just help you guys. What's your troubles at home? What do you want to learn? What to do with? If you right now have something in your fridge you don't know what to do with, or the pickle juice, right? Sometimes we buy pickles and then we eat all the pickles and we have that pickle juice. What to do with that? Of course, you can re-pickle. You can also do more mayonnaise, like a nice citric mayonnaise. You can do vinaigrettes. Don't throw that. It's so nice. You can also drink it, but maybe it's too strong. I don't know. It's also a great time now to ferment honey with garlic. So if you have some extra garlic as well that is going bad, because sometimes that happens, just peel it and put it inside a honey jar. I don't have it right here. It's there, but it's like a really good immune booster. Just wait a few weeks and you'll see how your honey starts to get more liquid. That's really good as well. Leaves of strawberries. I saw a recipe. I have not tried it. I saw a recipe of pesto with them, so I would think they are edible. I don't know. I would try it. I would definitely try it next time. What I did once, that I did a dinner with strawberries a lot, I just put them also as decoration because I thought they were really nice. But in the end, yeah, I would think to try this pesto. I think they are edible. Just maybe they are a bit. That's the thing with the greens, no? They can be a bit bitter, so that depends. The oil from sun-dried tomatoes to fry vegetables for sauces. Of course, that's so delicious. Like the sun-dried tomatoes is not only the tomatoes, but the oil that is so good, no? So the other day also, I still have it here. I bought like this cheese that sometimes comes in oil, preserved in oil. And I use that oil particularly to flavor some of my pastas, So yes, carrot tops, beets as well. Beets are great, the leaves, but the stalk of the beets, you can also really pickle them, and they're really nice, and they add a lot of nice color. Carrot peels in something other than broth. Well, I actually, if my carrots are organic, I don't peel them anymore. If they're not, I also try to just submerge them to take out the pesticides. But if you have carrot peels, I would try to do the same as with the potato peels. Also with sweet potato, for example. So if one day you're also like having a lot of peels, you can also do like peel chips, I think carrot peels could be really nice in the oven, and they would sweeten a little bit as well. And sometimes what I've done as well, which is not exactly with the peels, but if I've done juice extracts and you get a lot of leftover on the other side, I dehydrated that and then made tea. So a little like, beet, carrot, apple tea for another day or so. You can mix it with some maybe dried flowers or so, and make your own mixes. Can you use other stalks? Pepper, courgette, I always end up cutting the ends off. You can use, well, the green part of the pepper, I have not yet found an exact use for it, but for the courgette and other parts of the stalks, just if they're not so for cooking immediately, I would just, the ultimate solution before the composting is just to make a really nice broth with it, like with the pepper green, though, I don't have an answer, but the courgette definitely, and of course, I mean, like I showed yesterday here before, like this, the broccoli stalk or the cauliflower stalk. Well, you saw the leaves. We use them for kimchi. They're really nice. But these ones are so good. Please don't throw them. Like you can make, you can just cut them also with a mandolin or very thinly and try to make chips. You can add it to your soups. You can add it to a vegetable saute, or you can also do like this escabeche that I'm going to do in a few weeks. How long homemade broth would last in the fridge if you don't use it immediately? Yes, at least a week. You just make sure it's hot, like you boil it and then once it's cold, you put it in your fridge. It could last for you the whole week. And if you don't plan on using it so much, you can then freeze it. Yes, broccoli stem raw, delicious. Guys, it's 6:30. Thank you so much for all of you being here, and for enjoying, I guess, all of my tips and everything. Just send an email through if you have more questions, if you have more doubts. Follow us, we'll be there, and enjoy this amazing festival and the rest of the talks coming up. Thank you all. Bye.